Greetings, Swangolians, and welcome back to Swango. This is the OG Bird, and today we're going to be continuing our 101 series with part 7 on tanks. That's right, baby. We're going to do tanks today. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into the customized kits and vehicles, and I'm going to show you here the tank and its upgrades and weapon options. Now, notice that I only have the one tank that I can adjust here, and that's because this is the only tank available to me on this map. I'm accessing this from the in-game menu, not from the main menu, and that's why it's only showing the one tank. So if I click on this to customize it, we'll see that the top upgrade slot has 3 slots: an upgrade slot, a gadget slot, and a weapon slot. In the upgrade slot, you start off with the auto loader, I believe. Then you have proximity scan, reactive armor, thermal camo, maintenance, and then back to the autoloader. So I use the proximity scan. Under the gadgets, there is infrared smoke, zoom optics, and thermal optics. I like to use the smoke. And then in the weapons, there is guided shell, coaxial light machine gun, canister shell, and coaxial heavy machine gun. And then back to guided shell, where I like to use. So we are going to go ahead and deploy on the top of Caspian border where there is a tank. Now, tanks are slow, but they're very strong. They're 2-seaters unless you have the CITV seat, we're just going to call it the TV seat, unlocked. And if you do have it unlocked, then every tank is going to have a 3rd seat for you to occupy. Now that 3rd seat, that TV seat, is for recon. All you do with it is pretty much spot and paint with the recon seat. Now, like I said, there is 3 seats once you unlock that 3rd TV seat. From the outside, we can see that the pilot or the driver uses this cannon right here. The gunner uses this guy up here, this machine gun. This TV spot uses this scope right here. This little round thing and that window on it. That is the TV scope. Now there's a reason I'm showing this to you, and we'll get to it in a little while, but it's important for you to know the location of those things on the tank, and we'll get to it. Now, like I said, it has the upgrade slot, the gadget slot, and the weapon slot. The driver is always in the 1st seat, and you exit a tank the direction you are looking. Now that's important information to know, because if you're in a fight and you want to get out of the tank, you don't want to get out in the direction that you've been firing. You want to get out in a different direction, so you're going to have to rotate your turret to get out in the direction that you want to. Now let's go over the controls. As a driver, the left stick steers your vehicle. Now let me get in here. Now, B button. Left stick steers my vehicle. So I'm not accelerating or reversing here. I'm just simply turning. So you can turn. You can hear the treads moving. Now my right stick is my aim and my look. This is my turret. My right stick, up, down. That's about its limitations, okay? It can go all the way around though. However, if you do go all the way around, there's this hump on the back of the tank which raises the turret up. So you can't always shoot something directly behind you. Plus, you really don't want your rear end to be facing something that can shoot back at you. Now, if I click on the left stick while I'm moving, it's going to give me what they call boost. Let me demonstrate this. I'm going to accelerate by using the right trigger. I'm going to click the left stick, and you can hear it. You can hear that diesel boosting. I usually drive the whole time boosted to get from point A to point B quickly, except for when I'm turning. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to turn while you're boosted, you're going to get stuck. So you want to turn. If you try to it's gonna turn real slow. You're definitely gonna realize you're in a tank. It turns really slow, and if you're on any kind of a hill, you're just gonna spin out. So anytime I'm about to turn, I just let go of the gas just for a second and then hit it again, and it disables the boost mode and allows me to go into driving mode, which makes me take corners a lot quicker. Now, if, like I have shown you before, if you click the right stick, you're in third person mode. If I click it again, it goes back into first person. A cycles the seats. So I'm currently in the driver's seat. You can see in the bottom right corner, it says the OG Bird. I'm in the driver's seat. If I click the A button, it puts me in the gunner seat. And if I click the A button one more time, it puts me in the TV seat. Now, X reloads. Let's see if I fire something here. See, it says X reload, X reload, X reload. I've tried using it. It doesn't reload any faster by hitting the X button than it does automatically reloading. So it's kind of useless. But that's what the button is supposed to do. Now, Y cycles your weapons. I currently have the cannon, and if I hit the Y button, I go to guided missile. If you had the coaxial light machine gun, the coaxial heavy machine gun, or the canister shell, that is what you would switch to by hitting the Y button. I currently have the guided shell on. Now B exits and enters the vehicle, like we've shown you before. Left trigger reverses the tank. So we'll hit the left trigger, reverse. Right trigger, accelerate. Just like the Jeep. You can also come to a stop by hitting the left trigger, like that. The left button, the left bumper, LB, fires. The right button uses your gadget, minus smoke. It's quite a bit of smoke. IR smoke. That really helps you to, if you're starting to be locked on, you'll hear that audible, and you're starting to be locked on, you just hit that right button when you have smoke active and the lock-on will stop. However, if you drive out of the smoke, they can reacquire you, so you kind of want to stay in the smoke. You can also use it for cover for your troops. So you can be driving along and see them about to be advancing on a spot and just go, oh, here's some smoke, guys, here's some cover for you. Go ahead. It's a very useful tool. Use it in many creative ways. However, the other gadgets have their perks too. I don't really like the zoom. You can try it out for yourself. Zoom, I've tried it on a couple different times and it really doesn't do anything for me. The thermal optics can be very nice. However, I'm not going to trade it out for the smoke because a lot of people are using guided shells and guided missiles and javelins and things like that now, and so smoke is what I currently use. Now, smoke can reload. It reloads every 10 seconds. Now that's pretty fast because look how long it takes for it to dissipate. Now it's completely dissipated for about 3 seconds. And then you can hit it again. So it is very powerful and it does reload very quickly. Now, since the latest patch, since the September 4th patch, there's now a delay between firing your primary and secondary weapon. Okay, I currently have the guided shell on, but it also puts a delay on the canister shell and probably the tow missile when Armored Kill comes out. The tow missile will be an attachment on some of the new armor. It does not delay between cycling the main cannon and either the LMG or the HMG. So there is no delay. You can just fire that and then quickly switch over to your LMG and start firing. Ba 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 ba. But there's going to be a delay between the guided shell, the canister shell, and the primary cannon. And probably, like I said, probably the tow missile in the Armored Kill patch. There are controls for the gunner seat as well. So we're going to enter here, get into the gunner seat. Left stick does nothing, all right? The right stick looks around. It's your aim. It's got a pretty good movement. It can aim up pretty high, and it can do some damage to aircraft that is within range. The right stick, if you click it, will toggle the view, just like the driver. Now, I'm not exactly sure if it does this when it's got a driver in it as well. So I'm pretty sure it does. If I remember correctly, it does. Some things I just don't remember. I just know when I'm on the battlefield. Clicking the right stick will give you that view toggle. Now the left trigger zooms, and it's got a pretty powerful zoom on it, as you can see. I mean, that stuff's pretty far away. And I'm hitting it. So this is a very accurate weapon. This is just the standard gunner's weapon. It's much like in the buggy, where if I continue to burst fire this weapon, I'm not going to run out of ammo. The only time that it stops is when it overheats. Now, let me show you a demonstration. See? Overheated. But if you burst it, you can do it all day long. See? It's beautiful, beautiful. So remember, burst your weapons, guys. Burst all your weapons, all your weapons. So now we're gonna hit A, and we're gonna go into the TV slot. Now you'll notice you don't have a whole lot to do here. You're basically spotting, guys. So you got one thumb on the back button, constantly tapping that to spot anybody, and then you can paint planes and choppers and any vehicle actually within range with this thing. It does have, now the right stick looks around. The left stick doesn't do a thing again. So the right stick looks around, or does your aiming, if you want to call it. The left trigger cycles the infrared view mode. So if I hit that, you can see. Now this is very helpful for spotting mines, spotting explosives. They show up just glowing white, and if you see that, you hit the back button, it lights them up, and the driver can see them and can avoid them or destroy them if that's the case. Also, the people are all white, and just so if there's anybody over there, I can see them. I can try to hit that back button and spot them for everybody around, so that they can be seen on the mini-map. And the only thing that it doesn't do really is for the vehicles in the air. So if I'm trying to get something in the air, I'm using my standard vision mode, and I'm going to try to paint them that way. But even vehicles, unless they have thermal camo, are going to show up very white, and they just become very easy to paint. So this is a very good mode to be in when you are in the TV slot, is to use your infrared vision. One of the things that we need to talk about is the tank's vulnerabilities. Let me move this thing into a better position here. Okay. Now the tank is armor. It's very strong, but it does have its vulnerabilities. Now, I am currently an engineer class, and I've got a stinger attached because I was testing that out earlier. And let me tell you, they're back. You can use them again. They work now. So let me switch suicide here, simulated death, and we're going to go ahead and equip a SMAW and repair tool. Okay, so we're going to deploy here. I've got my SMAW. This is an unguided rocket, and it does damage against buildings and infantry and all vehicles if you can connect with them, if you can hit them. This is what a lot of people use against armor, and I see a lot of people trying too hard to hit it in its strongest places. Now the front of the tank is by far the strongest part of a tank. You do not want to be firing on the front of a tank, even if you're in another tank. I mean, if you don't have a choice, of course you're going to take the shot. But you need to maneuver yourself and your second shot for a side shot, because the front of the tank is very well armored. Now let me show you. I'm going to come back here a little bit, and I'm going to hit this thing with my missile. Direct hit. Boom! Now get in here and we can see the damage. 79% health left, okay? 21 points of damage from hitting it in the very front at a very close range, direct hit. That thing is barely touched with this thing. Even if I hit it again, it's only going to do, what, 17, 21 more damage? So let's make sure this thing is at full health. Now, one of the things you need to realize that when playing in normal mode, as long as you're not in hardcore or any type of custom preset, if you're in normal mode, your vehicles will repair themselves over time as long as they're not disabled. If they're disabled, they cannot repair themselves. They have to be mended. Now that is the difference. I'm going to hit this tank on the side with this small missile. Now, this is a pretty common attack, right? You get up on the side of it, maybe even you're from the back. Let's do that. We'll even do it from the back a little bit. So the tank is spotting somebody else and you got a bitchin' clear shot on it. Boom, okay? You see that direct hit? Let's see how much damage. Huh. 18, boys and girls. 18 damage. That is nothing. Nothing. Look at that. 3 seconds, 2 seconds to repair the tank with that kind of damage. Now, if I hit it directly perpendicular on the side, look at that. Now we're talking. Now we're getting a little bit closer. 36 damage from one rocket if I hit it at perfect 90-degree angle from its side. So if you're going to hit it from the side, maneuver yourself into that 90-degree position because that's double damage from hitting it from this position than hitting it from this position. Now, if you can, where you want to hit it is in the ass, right there in the butt. I'll back up a little bit, give itself a fighting chance. Boom! Look at that. That sucker's on fire already. We get inside. Woo! 55 damage. This vehicle is disabled. Okay? It is not going to repair itself. Look at it counting down. 32, 31, 29. Oh, it's getting faster and faster. So we're going to repair this tank. Once a vehicle is disabled, it must be completely repaired, or it will start, there we go, or it will start counting down again and destroying itself. It'll start losing health unless you get it all the way back to 100%. All right? So remember that with the disabled vehicles, if you're going to repair it, you have to repair it all the way to 100%. We got our SMAW here. We hit it in the ass. Now that was an amazing shot. We disabled it in one shot. We hit it from the angle. Got a very nice amount of damage. If I hit it at this semi-angled shot, this 45, you know, between the 0 and 45 here, even if I hit the butt. Now let's do this. We'll hit the butt, we'll hit the ass at an angle and see what happens. That was pretty close, too. Look at that. Look at that. Still has 78% health compared to being disabled if I hit it directly from the rear. So if you can, try to line those shots up because they will do a lot of damage. It will be worth it. If you can manage to stay alive, I know the situations get hot, very, very hot. But if you can stay alive long enough to get yourself into this position, you are going to do some major damage to that tank. Probably destroy it. For sure, disable it. It's vulnerable to, especially since this new patch, apparently the chopper rockets do more damage, more impact damage to the armor now. So that is another one of their enemies, let's say. The repair torch. In the hands of the enemy, I've tried it out. It takes about 6 seconds now to disable a tank with the repair torch. That's still pretty quick. I think it's a fair amount of time. I think that part of the patch is actually well done. It's also vulnerable to C4 and mines. it takes 1 C4 or 1 mine to disable the vehicle, except for the Jeep. 1 mine or 1 C4 will completely destroy a buggy. The tanks, if you use 1 piece of C4 or 1 mine, it's going to disable it. If you use 2 of either the C4 or the mines, it's going to destroy it. I've tried it out several times. You only need 2. Your C4 and your mines can go a long ways. Like I said, disabling a vehicle does not mean you destroyed it. It means you put enough damage on the vehicle and it will explode unless mended. Now we're going to get inside of this tank and we're going to look at the HUD. Now at the very top is your heading. You have these angles here, those degrees, 90, 45, 0. This is your heading. I never use them. I hardly even see it up there anymore. But if you can find a way to make it to your advantage, then by all means use it. On your left is your vertical degrees. So I'm currently at 90, but if I go up, yeah, see it's going up to 97, 99. It goes all the way up to 110 and all the way down to 78. And then we have our gadget Q availability. So I'm using smoke. And over to the left, it says my smoke is ready. So if I go ahead and hit that right bumper, now it says wait. That means this is the waiting period while it reloads. And then we have about 3 seconds of fresh air before we can hit it again. To the right is our kilometers per hour. And this thing goes about 50, 55 downhill, you know, around there, which isn't too bad when you're using the boost. At the bottom, get a better shot here, is your weapon readiness, tank and turret orientation, and distance to the target. So right now it says cannon AP RDY. That's cannon armored piercing ready. Boom. Now it says wait. So this is its reload time. If you look, if I can actually aim onto something here, it has that number 27. Now I'm assuming that's in meters because the rest of the game is in meters. So I'm assuming that this target is 27 meters from what I am in my crosshairs, and I can hit it. And I can use that to try to angle the distance, you know, and get a shot from a longer distance. So, and then in the very middle, of course, you have your crosshairs. Notice at the tank, if I just rotate the tank itself is always pointed forward. The turret, as I move the turret, you can see the turret's orientation, but you can also see the gunner turret's orientation, which can be very important if you're trying to tell him where an enemy is at from his perspective. So you want to go, oh, he's to the left if he's right ahead of you, or, you know, you can see his orientation. So if he's calling out targets, you know which direction to turn to find those targets. Now, one of the things I want to show you is as you rotate, this is the speed that you rotate. But if I rotate the tank in the same direction, look how much faster it turns. So, know that. That can help out a lot. Know that tanks will not really go up steep grades, so don't really try it. And they won't traverse deep waters. It'll eject you just like in the buggies. Now you can ram vehicles and some structures to inflict damage with these tanks. And if you can hit an aircraft with your main weapon, with your armor-piercing cannon, it's an instant kill. It's a tough shot, but it's very rewarding. I've actually done it, and I've got it on my clip of the sights and sounds. Check that out in my BF3 playlist. So that pretty much wraps up all the little bits and pieces of the tank. Remember, bring your repair tool and Know your vulnerable spots. Keep this ass end covered and away from enemy rocket fire because that is your Achilles heel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on all your social sites. Help me get the word around about Swango. I'll keep bringing you new videos. The next, we are going to hit choppers. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to go into the attack choppers, the transport choppers, or the scout choppers first. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go by your comments. So the next thing that you want me to do in the chopper category, you put it down in the comments, and whichever gets the most, that's the one I'm going to do next. But you got to hurry up and do it because I'm doing these videos probably first thing tomorrow. So get those comments down, and I will bring you chopper attack time. That's right. I got all kinds of cool stuff about choppers. So thank you for returning to Swango's BF3 101. This is the OG Bird signing out of Swango, and don't forget, happy gaming.